Hello, fellow gamers. I'm Gamer James. Last time I talked to you, I told you bare minimum to become a dungeon master. Now I'm going to talk about the bare minimum you need to get your campaign started. What we need a system. We need a dungeon, and we need a town. Now, the town doesn't really even have to be a town. It needs to be a main hub. Some place where your characters can go. They can sell their items, they can buy new items, they can upgrade their equipment that they already have. Maybe they can learn new new skills or abilities, buy a few magical books, get some potions. They need to be able to do all of that stuff. Basically, it's a little safe place. Relatively safe. I mean, they can still get into a bar fight or something, get arrested by the town sheriff. This could also be a keep. Kind of like I was playing Skyrim, and my character got kicked out of town. I ended up killing a noble or something on the road. I can't remember what it was that had happened, but I was wanted. And instead of just paying the fine, I went to one of the nearby keeps, killed all of the guys in it. It was I don't know, thieves guild in there or something. I don't remember. But anyway, I killed everybody in there and just kind of posted up in there. There was a bed, go to sleep, get my hit points back, and every so often, as long as you're there at the right time on the right day, there would be a wandering merchant that would pass by. He was going in between one town and another town. So that could be your main hub. The main hub could be a monastery. You could also just have a safe room somewhere inside the dungeon that the monsters can't get to because there's magical runes on the door. No evil things can pass, which would mean if you had a evil character in your group, he wouldn't be able to pass. Which I don't think you should have evil characters in your group anyway, because let's say I got a hostage. I'm holding a hostage. And you're like, I'll cut the little kid's throat. Well, if they're evil characters, you'd be like, they're just going to shoot the little kid with a crossbow. And then the guy's going to be like, what? And then they're going to shoot him with I don't know, 12 magic missiles or something. And he probably dies. Unless he's high enough level to take 12 magical missiles to the face. So anyway, I'm getting off topic. Then we need a dungeon. Dungeon doesn't actually have to be a dungeon. Because, we all know a dungeon is basically just a cell. It's like an oubliette, a place of forgetting, a place where we torture people. The donjon, the highest tower in the castle. So, different dungeons. You could have Ruined City, Abandoned Mine. The thing I like about the Abandoned Mine, thing I like about the Abandoned Mine, it could be a mine where dwarves once lived. Then it was all the dwarves were killed off. Humans move in. They start mining it. Maybe they were killed off by some goblins or some orcs or something. So then you have all of these different areas that have these different influences. You got the dwarven influence. You got this dwarven layer, you got this human layer. Probably underneath that, you got this goblin and orc layer, where they came up and, attacked all the goblins and dwarves and stuff. I mean, the goblins and humans and whatnot. And then you can also have your mine area and natural caves. Now, the cool thing about this is it gives you a lot of options for different monsters in different areas, different descriptions for different areas, and it just kind of it can keep that dungeon fresh for a while. I would say in a situation like that, that's going to get you to about 5th, maybe 6th level. And we're talking like a mega dungeon, not like the most mega dungeon, but reminds me of Lord of the Rings, the Mayans of Moria. Well, in the system. Now, my last video, I talked about these babies right here. Oh, box cars. And the cool thing about your system, your D6 system, I just rolled a 5. I just rolled a 9. I rolled another 5. Most of your rolls are going to be midstream because this creates a bell curve. So most of your rolls are going to be 6, 7, or 8. That's your average roll. Your average roll is not 7. That's ridiculous. Because you're going to roll 8, 7, and 6 just as often. I'll write it down for you and show you. Maybe I'll do another video I'm going to do a whole video dedicated to a D6 system. And like I said, I remember 4. All we need is 4. Strength, agility, intelligence, and health. And like I said, if you want to call them something else, you can call them something else. Vitality, wisdom, speed, and HP, whatever you want to call it. But anything that is a normal task, anything that's an easy task, okay? An easy task, you have to roll above a 3. 3 or 4, an easy task. You're still going to fumble. You're still going to fumble on a 1. Even an easy task. It'd be, I don't know, tying your shoe. Of course, we're not going to make anybody roll for tying your shoe, but okay, let's say your character likes playing baseball. Okay? They've been playing baseball their whole life. Well, for your character to throw a baseball and hit a man-sized target standing, less than 50 yards away, he's really good at that. So all he needs to roll is like a 4. That's it. Something that's of average difficulty. It's something that you can do, but you don't actually do it all the time. You can do it, but you don't do it all the time. What's an example? Stunt car driver. Okay, what would be something that a car driver does all the time, but sometimes they might mess it up a little bit. Drift. Stunt car drivers drift all day long. It's not quite as easy as the baseball player throwing and hitting a man-sized target. It's not quite as easy, but to the stunt car driver, he's going to drift around a corner. Maybe it's wet, because they are going to drift quite a bit. But maybe it's wet, and he skids a little bit too much and bangs the backside of his tire or something. Messes up his axle. Or the same baseball player. He's throwing that baseball, and it's raining. Well, he doesn't throw in the rain that often. Or maybe it's a little dark. Not quite completely pitch black, but there's like some complication, or it's something that you, like I said, you don't do all the time. Well, hell, maybe it's the stunt car driver trying to throw the baseball. I used to play catch with his dad when he was a kid, so he's got some idea. Something hard. You got to roll an 11, a 10, 11, or a 12. You got to roll higher, right? Got to roll a 10 or an 11. It's hard. A hard task. What would be a hard task? Shazam. I think I'm starting to get a little inebriated right now. I've actually been trying to do this video for about 2 hours now. Well, heck, a hard task could be leaving from a bar to get to your house when you're completely drunk on a Saturday night and not get arrested. That could be a really hard task, depending on where you live. You'd have to roll intelligence, a really high intelligence roll. The drift thing, that'd be your agility roll. Throwing a baseball, I'd make that strength. A lot of people want to put throwing stuff as an agility thing. It's not. You got to put a lot of strength behind a throw. Just like drawing a bow. There's a lot of strength involved in drawing a bow. Although drawing the bow, the requirement is the strength. But it's mostly a skill-based thing. You got to get ranks in that skill. So that's a little bit about D6 system. There's other ways to do a D6 system, of course. I can just have a modifier on my sheet. That's all I write down, and then I just roll a D6. I add the 5 that I just rolled to the D6, or I could roll 2 D6. I could then add to my snake eyes, but then I just shot myself in the foot when I was trying to fast draw at that point, because I rolled Snake Eyes. And of course, if you roll boxcars, you pulled out your pistol, you shot what's-his-face in the face, fanned it, shot out both of his eyes, left 2 smoking holes, talked some shit before it hit the ground, put it back in your holster, walked away. Wow, Ringo, you know Daisy at all. I think his string was wound too tight. The string was too much for him to bear. So anyway, I mean, that's your system. And of course, you could add advantage if you didn't like your roll. I don't like that roll. I'm going to roll again. Wow, I mean, that's pretty simple. Okay. Now, I was going to show you here's an example of a town. Kind of hard to see it all. So that up there, I have a little symbol that means that's a farmhouse. It's written in red. Go over here, that's a sheriff's station. That's what that little star means. Go on down the road. That's a church. Going down a little further. And yeah, I know everything's backwards. But I've been having trouble with my camera, so it's the only way I can watch myself and do it at the same time. But anyway, this here is a hotel. And then that's where the noble lives. That's why there's a little crown there. That spoked wheel symbol in brown, that means they're a stable. And you can see there's a few stables in a few different places. Where's another stable? Oh, up here at the farmhouse, of course, is a stable. And that's a rich guy's house. The number B right below it, and he's got a stable as well. There's your blacksmith. That's what the little purple shield means. Alright, is that everything? Let's check it out. Yeah, that's pretty much everything of note. Now, I do have some places on the map. The number 2, and you see that's definitely backwards. In between the noble's house. Right there. That's just like a little slum, a little ghetto. Now over here, and sorry, it's still written backwards because I'm looking at everything, but got my phone turned around here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We got 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 are the slums. They're not that important. But then you have these other things that are important. But I didn't write anything in there. Well, I'm not going to write those in until people have gone there. The only reason I wrote this in, well, if you start here at this town, all of your adventurers are going to know that's the inn. Because the inn also has a bar in it. Most inns, like a saloon, you got your bar. got a place to eat. Everything you need to get started is right there in that inn, and right there in your map. And here we got a dungeon. Now up here, this is a crypt. This one I did a little different. I got one, and this symbol up here was letting me know that this was a crypt. Now on another piece of paper, I have marked that some of these crypts have different symbols on them. I didn't want to fill that. I didn't want to put too much on this map when I first did it, so I was just like, before I came up with the symbol, like the whole symbol idea, I just put numbers. So on a different piece of paper, I have all the numbers, and then I have everything that's in that room. And you enter in the dungeon down here. There's your entrance. This is G1, ground floor 1. So you're walking down into the dungeon. And the first thing you're going to see is this little alcove right here. There's a guard there. That's his alcove. He just kind of like chills there when he's taking a break. He's supposed to be standing here, but when he takes a break, he just kind of sits there and gets drunk. And normally, first level, if I'm doing this dungeon first level, when they enter the dungeon, that guy is drunk. And you got some stairs going down. And that's all on another map. On this side, there's the world. Now the reason all of this stuff isn't filled in, there's a couple of reasons here. One, don't want the adventurers to know everything on here. And I'm sorry that I couldn't get my camera working right. I'll get it figured out. But that's going to be when I show you how to, my thoughts on making a map. But this is like an almost complete map anyway. But anyway, you got your different continents, and then there's the names of the continents. And some places don't really have any name. Well, that actually belongs to this continent. Now, you see this spot right here in the middle? That's where your adventurers start. The reason why, see, this is all ocean right here. This is an inland sea. And then I put all of these other continents around, and you have a lock. If you ever played the first Final Fantasy, the way that was set up, there was some continents that went around in a circle, and there was a lock. You had to get TNT to blow a hole in that lock. The dwarves would do that for you. But the way this is going to work is first everybody starts here. It's not until you get a boat that you realize that there's players realize there's all this other stuff around here. And then they get to sail to these other continents. And then, at some point, they discover the way to get through this lock. But what they first know is that first town. And I had to redo that. That's why all these are older. I mean, you might be able to tell paper is yellowed and stuff. But that first town, that's all they know at first. Then we zoom out, okay? We zoom out a little further, right? This is a mountain range on this island in the middle, okay? Now, the reason why I do this is the world keeps getting bigger and bigger as we level up. Okay, the characters know what the world looks like. Because of scholars, If they have any education, they know what the world looks like. If they're a simple barbarian, they might not know. Okay? But then you have this mountain here. You got all these little, there's a cave. I wish I had something else to point with. Got a little cave right here. There's a town here. We got all these paths. Let's see, people sail this way because, you know, there's coral reefs and stuff out here. So there's certain ways you want to sail. There's little towns. There's caves in some of these mountains. And most of the caves are going to be marked on the map. Actually, I'm not sure that I marked all the caves on that map. But anyway, here's this is a huge city. It's up in the mountains. Players start out here. Okay? This is a zoom out from that town. Here you go here. We're zooming out even further. Then they get to see the rest of their island. They discover that there's all these other places around. Then they might have thought this was all the island, right? When they first look at that map. You notice, well, it might be kind of hard to tell, but this is the same shape as that mountain range in the middle of the island. Okay? I've reused that idea, that same idea, in a couple of other maps. This is a more recent map. And again, right there, that's where, same place, it's just it's just a different map, a different version of the same map. I kind of consider this, like a Bizarro world or something. But I just kind of updated my map later. That was an older one. But then, look at this. Wait a minute. I got those upside down. Oh, sorry. Okay. It's the same map. This is a political map. This map shows you where all the different types of terrain are. So it's cool to have a bunch of different maps. Then I just kind of whoa, did I do that upside down or not? Yeah, I think it's kind of upside down. Alright, I haven't filled this one in, but I was going to update my map again and do it a little bit differently. But I still keep with that same basic idea of you start out in the middle and you have all of this stuff around. Same thing, that's your political map. This is the island in the center. Oops. Here's your terrain map. Shows you where all the mountains and deserts and stuff are, forests. Got that upside. I keep putting them all upside down. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm messing up here. But anyway, this is getting kind of long. But anyway, here's the last map I'm going to show you. And this video is getting kind of long. I'm getting kind of tired. But anyway, this last map here, it's got a bunch of trade routes on it. Shows you where a bunch of places are. Got a bunch of different symbols. And all these symbols mean different things. Now, I don't expect you to do all of those maps. Anyway, like I said, you just need your first map of your town and your first cave. But then as your characters are playing for a while and you play in this world for a while, it expands, it gets bigger, it gets more interesting. people start unlocking more lore. The world expands. Just like in that first Final Fantasy game. Alright, well, peace out. It's nice talking to y'all. And I'm gonna have a couple more videos on this topic. So, talk to you later.